Reddit stories from r/AskReddit. What is a weird hobby that you've been hiding from your family, friends? I've been writing a novel for the past 3 years, spending a good chunk of my time polishing it, researching, getting the tone just right. It has been a challenge because I've been writing it in English. English isn't my first language and I'm a construction worker. Dude, that's awesome. As a fellow hobby writer, I'm really proud of you because I know how hard writing can get. For you, it's not even your first language, so I really admire you. I hope you'll be able to publish it someday. All the best. I voice act. My family is mostly non-American, and don't know the first thing about voice acting. They've caught me looking like I'm talking to myself doing funny voices, and pretty much thought I was nuts. Since then, I've been keeping this hobby away from them. It's not something I tend to do to get the bills paid, as I lack equipment of any kind. I just do it for fun. I like altering my voice and singing songs in different voices. I also just like to be dramatic lol. I once got a ride from a friend's mom when I was a kid, and she would voice act for the people in the city around us. Pedestrians, gardeners, construction workers, whatever. She would voice act their scenarios out but with hilarious twists and I laughed the whole way. If you've got quick wit and a good sense of humor, you could probably make it an enjoyable hobby for others too. That sounds genuinely hilarious. I record myself reading books aloud. Like Berenstain Bears chapter books, Choose Your Own Adventure, Goosebumps, etc. I do the voices, edit out the mistakes, sometimes add music or sound effects. Then I listen to those recordings while doing household tasks, or especially when I can't sleep. Hearing my own voice reading helps me doze off like you wouldn't believe. I've been thinking about doing this with NFPA 72 and other code books related to my career. As far as I'm aware, there are no audiobook recordings of this and I'm procrastinating reading them. I think it could be beneficial to me and others who are struggling to chug through the code. Do you recommend this activity for my situation? Is it a huge pain in the ass? I also worry that I would get creeped on as a female, but maybe that's me being paranoid from previous uncomfortable situations. I've tried writing short stories. None of them are good enough to share. Put them away for a bit, then go back and read them after they've been out of mind for a good while, with fresh eyes. Either you'll realize they are good, or you'll see how you can edit them to make them good. I definitely support this from personal experience. When I was 12 I wrote this incredible story concept with an incredibly shit delivery. Oh boy, was it bad. I put it aside because, when I finished at the tender age of 13 I realized, oh man, I can never let anyone see this shameful creation. Fast forward some 5 years, I found the drafts for that story, and realized everything that was wrong with it and how starting a second draft would hopefully make it 1,000 times better. Yeah, I'll blame this one on age maturity, but honestly time helps a lot. If you look at your old projects with another level of knowledge and maturity you will find your mistakes and work around to fix them. Definitely rewrite the stories, even if it's just for yourself and to see the growth you've been through as a writer. I've been volunteering at a cat shelter for about a year and haven't said anything about it to my friends. It just feels kinda awkward because I'm a 19-year-old dude and most other volunteers are middle-aged women lol. Dude, I'm a guy and I volunteer at an elementary school to be a friend for at-risk kids. Not a lot of guys do it, so usually it's me and like 3 girls, but because they do same-sex partners I got a sweet 4th grade boy who loves basketball. It's always awkward at first when you're the only dude, but it shouldn't stop anyone. Edit, well this exploded. Thanks for gilding y'all, but the most important thing is that we get guys to be good role models for the younger generation. It's how we can turn society around for the better, one innocent elementary kid at a time. Edit 2, I do Kids Hope, which I did need to be cleared for, but it was a simple and painless process. Someone else mentioned Big Brother Big Sister, which does some similar stuff if not the same thing. I wish more guys would volunteer for this kind of thing. My dad died when I was a kid, and my family didn't have any uncles, grandfather, other older male relatives. My brother was the only guy in my family, and he had a really hard time growing up. Thank you for helping other little guys learn how to be guys smiley face. I build virtual houses in The Sims to post on the gallery. I think I'm up to like 8,000 some downloads. Which is not that much, but, yeah, I post often. On days off when no one's around I might post 5 builds in a day. I just find it super relaxing. I like to flesh everything out with little knick-knacks so it looks like real people live there. So yeah, I'm an adult who plays doll house. What about it? Edit, holy crap y'all. More people than the population of my hometown find this interesting. Thanks for my first awards smiley face. For those asking, my origin ID is Megan Kirkendall. Happy New Year. As someone who can edit builds but can't build from scratch for shit, thank you. Same. Been playing for like 20 years now and I am shit at building houses. Thank goodness for those who build and put them in the gallery. I listen to police, fire scanners to and from work every day, and can understand everything on them. I know what type of responders get dispatched for what type of calls. I know which types of calls are most likely to be false, aka a waste of time. Also know which channels responders will be asked to respond on based on the type of call, at least here locally. I know which ones to get excited about, aka, that's going to make the news later. The few times I have told people about this, I've said it's so I can avoid major traffic accidents before everyone else knows about them. Which is true. But the real reason is that I have always wanted to be a cop, firefighter, paramedic, but know there's not enough money in it for some of my other goals in life. Sewing, not so much a weird hobby, but my family is pretty old-fashioned, aka really sexist, so as a man they would have a field day if they knew more than half the stuff my wife made for them was actually me. It's really relaxing, satisfying creating stuff, and I save a lot of money never having to throw clothes out. I also sew and am male. However, I tell everyone. I think my proudest moment was when my best friend and his wife asked me to make their kid a baptism dress, and we had a great time where we all worked together and I had them sew the easier parts. That's super cool! I'm a professional trained seamstress, but unfortunately I'm not working in this field anymore. I switched to being a stylist. So I sold all of my sewing stuff, but recently I'm starting to miss it. Now I have to buy everything again, haha. And I have pretty high standards for my machines. Sewing yourself is somehow dying out. I absolutely love it when people still sew their clothes themselves. I'm a male who likes to collect and use nice soap. But not smelling terrible is for girls. Either you collect nice soaps as a hobby, or you smell terrible. There's no in between. Learning Chinese. Waiting for something like a head injury, car accident to pretend that's all I know somehow as a gag. Or maybe I'll just wait till we are at a Chinese restaurant. I didn't tell anyone for 2 years that I was learning Japanese. I felt like I was less likely to continue if I told people my plans to learn it. I'm starting to learn Japanese. I just started and I will also keep it a secret so that my brothers don't irritate me. Smiley face. I'm going to turn 60 in March. I feel young, but I have a hobby that might not seem right for my age. Thankfully my spouse, 2 years younger than me, is into it as well. We absolutely love playing video games. We each have our own Nintendo Switches. We are both hooked on Minecraft but have tons of games. Do you have Overcooked? It's a really fun game to play together. Overcooked is fun but will probably be the cause of my divorce. I create little origami cranes whenever I have the chance. A lot of the time in school I'll find a piece of scrap paper and so I'll rip it into a square and fold up a little intricate paper crane, and then I'll put it somewhere and see how long it will last before being found. A few of my friends know about it, but that's it. My goal is to put these cranes in enough strange places that people start noticing and they'll wonder what the fuck is going on. I've managed to hide a few on top of speakers mounted to the wall, I've put some on top of an overhead projector, I hide them on random chairs, I've hid about 6 inside the piano, easily retrievable so that if anyone opens the lid they'll see them. I've put them on top of school computers and inside science equipment cabinets, on top of shelves and amongst textbooks. I even managed to get one into the teacher's bag. It's funny how people don't notice them, they're hidden in plain sight. I did this in high school. At first it was to flirt with a student scholarship worker that swept the auditorium. It worked. Then it was just for fun. Sometimes when I am bored, haven't done it in a while though, I'll put on sunglasses and sit somewhere public that has a lot of foot traffic and watch people. It's absolutely hilarious and can be very entertaining at times. Airports are my favorite places for this. I get to airports extra early when I have a flight to just see all the people being themselves. People are hilarious, and interesting personalities come out when people are trying to get through security. Also it's fun to speed walk on the people movers and to ride the trams. It's amusing when people don't think anyone is watching or paying any attention to them or what they are doing. Stand-up comedy. I don't really do it anymore, but I like to get cheap liquid glue, put it on my fingers or something, then peel it off. It was always strangely therapeutic for me, but I'd be pretty embarrassed getting caught. Did that all the time in middle school. Yay, everyone I know did this shit in middle school. Not that weird. I mean, it's a bit weird to still be doing it once you're not a kid anymore, but it's pretty vanilla compared to some of the other shit in this thread lol. I write erotica stories for myself. But the system I have in place is so convoluted and bizarre I can't let any of the people in my life know about it. Can you tell us internet strangers? I am intrigued. I've always had this fetish for women in crewneck sweatshirts. A few years ago I discovered sites like Etsy, where I could save photos of models wearing that type of clothing. I saved photos in a giant folder initially, then I started categorizing them, like if they said Ohio State on them I would put them in a subfolder called Ohio State or some other sports team, etc. Then I discovered Instagram. I did the same sort of thing, but also followed some models or just girls that I thought were really hot. Then I started grouping photos of a model, like say if they were a fan of a certain team or went to a certain college I would save all their photos under one of those subfolders. Following so far? Somehow I got the idea to write erotica stories on Word documents that I would tie to that girl in that folder. It could be some really extreme femdom or some sort of vanilla romantic thing. I basically chose my favorite sweatshirts from one subfolder, for instance, the best of the U Miami folder, and lined them up in 5 rows of 5, a total of 25 photos. Then for each photo, it would be like a different chapter of story, so basically 25 bullets a Word document. So for whatever line I was on, I would open the corresponding photo of that sweatshirt and go through all the photos of a girl while I was masturbating, like I was imagining her wearing that, but also getting off to photos of her half naked in other photos. Not weird enough? I also have a playlist on YouTube with sexual music, and I use a song from that playlist for each line. So if the song in the playlist is number 32 on the playlist, that's what I title the photo, so I know to go listen to that while I masturbate to that chapter. How do I decide which folder to pick for my solo session? I use a random number generator from Google and let that algorithm decide. See how psychotic that is? I could never let anyone in real life know that. Can't believe how much time I put into that, but I did find it mentally stimulating, and it also helped me to not get fixated on one article of clothing on a girl, because while I was looking at pictures of sweatshirts, I was also training my brain to appreciate other physical aspects of a woman. Edit. The one time my comment blows up and I get a bunch of likes is the one where I reveal my deepest, darkest secret. God damn it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more Reddit stories like this.